Today we're going to teach you how to make a really simple floating frame where you have just a little bit of gap here that's dark that kind of frames this, and you can either do this in natural wood or you can put any kind of finish on it that you like. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. We're now going to measure our artwork in order to get the lengths that we want to cut our framing material. So I measure width first always, so we have 16 inches for our artwork by 20 inches in this direction. And what we want to add to that to get this measurement to these two outside pieces is how much gap you want around it, around your floating area here. And I like 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to add 0.25, except we have two sides, so you're going to times that by 2. So it's going to be 0.5. Let's just bring our 16 inches over here. And then we have our framing material that I'm going to be using today. This is an example of it. Is going to be 1/2 inch each. So we measured that, and we're going to add 1 inch for our framing material. So now we have 5, 7, 1. So 17.5 is going to be this outside measurement right here to the outside from here to here. And then you'll go ahead and do that for your 20 inches. So it'll be 20 plus 0.5 plus 1. And you'll have 21.5 for your long edges and 17.5 for your short edges. And there you go. In cutting our framing material, the first thing we're going to do is make our first 45-degree angle at the end of the board here. And then I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to measure our 17.5 inches from the end of the board here. I like to use these straight edges for my first cuts here, just to make a nice clean mark there. And 17.5 inches. So then I like to make my second side measured off my first. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up really neatly there. Make sure we're good. There. We have our short sides and our long sides, and now we can begin to put them together. This Power Tech jig is something I was given. I didn't think I would like it, but I do. I've tried a couple other methods that work for other people, and this is the one I like. You can go up to about a 30-inch. I've done a 32-inch frame with it, 32 square. So here's our short ends and our long ends, and we're going to go through here and just put our glue. So here we are. It's squared neatly. And I like to, if I have a thicker frame, kind of walk these up a little bit once it's tight enough. And again, check for a little bit. And then let her dry. And there's part one of your frame. This little device I found I really like for measuring the side of my art. So I push that down here and then kind of set it on top there and lock it in. And what this is giving me is the height of my piece of artwork, the depth that I want to put it in here. So I actually take this and I back it off a little bit. I like my art to sit in a little bit. People traditionally like it flush. I scoot it back maybe a couple little notches. So this is how deep the bottom of my art piece will go and the top of my spacer bar. Make a couple little lines here. This is going to be our back frame. These strips will be going along the edges, and that's what's going to create the floating bit of our frame. I like to paint mine ahead of time. I sand this lightly and just shoot it with a little bit of satin paint, spray paint, and then they're all ready to go. So the way I like to do this is nudge it in really tight here and go across, and then with a very sharp pencil you're going to mark just on that line, and that's going to give you these inside dimensions here. So this is good. This is really tight. It's tight enough that I can, work it in here, and then I'll glue it in. So this is how I'm going to measure for each of these inside bits and glue these together. So we're going to just line that up there. Grab our clamps. Here. There we go. And we'll let this dry. And after this is dry, we'll come back and do the other edges. There we go. Almost there. Alright, so we had these two edges dried, and then we added our second two edges in the same manner. I generally sand my wood before I even cut it. Like, I give it a quick nice sanding on the flat side that I know it's going to the outside. So it's already sanded a bit, but I just give it a little final touch. It's nice to do the top where the joints meet on the corners. And just give it a quick little go around, and you have your frame. It's kind of, there it is. So now we're gonna pop our artwork in here, and I'll show you how to secure that and how to put the backing on and put your frame together. There's a couple things I use when I'm putting the artwork into the frame, and that is I like my little foam core wedges, and then these are tile wedges, and you can get them at the tile store, and they come in a giant thing, so you'll have more than you'll ever need. These are great, and I'll show you why. Is we need to square this off and also hold it in here so we can flip it upside down. So the first thing I usually do is plop my foam core in here, just, it kind of gives me a starting point. And then usually with the shims, I have to use 2, and I kind of, you know, put them in at a little bit of a offset from one another. And you want to go corner to corner with your shims. Now, what I'm doing is checking around the edges of my artwork to be sure that it's evenly, you know, put within the frame. So if this is a teeny bit too close and this is too far, then I give it a little tap over here. And that kind of works it down this way a little bit. And then tighten it in here. And now we're ready to flip it over and put our backside on. We're going to cover it. So here we have our frame wedged nicely in there. It all looks like it's good. And we're going to flip it over. And I like to lay it on something. I think it just protects the art a little bit. It kind of keeps things just a little happier. And I have my screws here. And I screw this baby in. You can pre-drill your holes if you want. I haven't really had an issue not pre-drilling my holes. So I'm just gonna, and I kind of really hold on to it here though. There we are.